Upon arriving on July 1st, I was assigned a bunk in this barrack. I think it took a few days to go through processing, so I was there on my 22nd birthday. I was spared not having to clean the latrine area. Eye contact is important to avoid being chosen. The sergeants look for those who are afraid to be chosen. From there, I was assigned to the Capitol Hotel. The Vietnamese maids did their wash on this day and hung clothes out to dry. In our room was a male rhinoceros beetle. It was the largest beetle I had ever seen. I knew things were going to be different in Vietnam. I was taking a picture of a helicopter and accidentally got the sign of the 9th Medical Laboratory, where I was assigned for the duration of my tour. While in Saigon, I had to get a picture of myself in front of the presidential palace. Nguyen Van Tu was the president at that time. This is a picture of a guard at the gate to the palace. This is again the Capitol Hotel where I lived for a couple months. Notice the white barrels in front of the hotel. This was a no parking zone. I was then moved to another hotel. It was a short distance from the 9th Medical Laboratory. This is a picture of a water buffalo which were prevalent in the area and outside our lab in the background. The building originally was a living area for families. We were close to the 3rd Field Hospital. This is a picture of a helicopter bringing in an injured patient. This is a picture of our mascot that we adopted. The picture is Fuzzy. He had a long tail and usually laid under the chair with wheels. We would get his tail run over, so the vets cut off his tail. We called him Detail. My primary duty was to receive the head of a dog that had bitten a GI. I would then remove the hippocampus, a part of the brain, and check it for Negri bodies, which confirmed the dog had rabies. Another fuzzy picture, but shows me at work. My friends couldn't hold the camera steady. One time I opened up a dog's skull and there was a large, empty cavity. The dog had a severe case of hydrocephalus. The brain was compressed up against the skull. During the monsoon season, there was a lot of water on the road leading to our lab. In this picture, it shows a Jeep stuck in the mud. If you look closely, we had some stepping stones to avoid walking in the water. The water was contaminated. Somebody got smart and tied some pallets together, and we had a floating sidewalk. The bus would drop us off to avoid getting stuck, and we would use the floating sidewalk. It was much better. During the monsoon season, water would accumulate next to our lab. Children in the area would come to swim in the water. Swimming trunks were not required. In this picture, it looks like they made a boat. This picture is a close-up. They had a lot of fun playing in the water. And one child even decided to go fishing. A great pastime was playing music on our Sony reel-to-reel tape player. Here I am adjusting some controls. Ignore the pictures on the wall. During the dry season, there was a basketball court next to the lab. Look closely and you'll see it was a basketball game was being played with a football. The basketball probably got deflated or ruined. And then there was a football game. On occasions, the USO would bring in entertainment into town. I'm not sure where this was. I think it was a retreat area close to Saigon. I got to play a little bit of table tennis. A couple miles from our lab alongside a major road was a horse racing track. It seemed out of place to have horse racing during a war or conflict, but there it was. These are some of the pictures I took. These are some pictures of how some of the people lived along the Saigon River. This seemed out of place in Saigon, but was a garden with a bull calf or maybe a small bull in the foreground. I'm not sure what it was eating. There was probably a person not pictured tending to the animal. I don't think they would want it ruining any of the crops. This is how they watered the garden. Those buckets with sprinkler heads had to be very heavy when full. The tool to lift water from the ground is a shadoof. To operate the shadoof, a person pulls a rope to lower the bucket into the water. The counterweight assists in lifting the full bucket, so the operator only has to pull down the empty bucket and guide the full one back up. Then the water is poured into the sprinkler bucket. In the pictures, I don't see a counterweight on the shadoof. Children enjoy water. This picture was taken from a taxi. A water main had broke and the children were playing in the water. Here the children play in a fountain. I don't know what this person was doing, but he had attracted a crowd. Maybe he was selling some kind of medicinal product. A very popular street for GIs was Tudo Street. A GI could purchase all kinds of items. In fact, I bought an ivory chess set for my dad and an intricate ivory carving for my mother. A popular location was a meat market on the street. It was hard to believe the meat was laying out in the heat to be purchased. I couldn't believe that the ducks or chickens were just hanging there to be purchased. I believe this is fish to be sold. I don't know why there were so many children were in the picture. Look closely at all the black specks. Those are flies. And this is a woman filleting fish. She looks like she knows what she is doing. This person looks like he is preparing some type of sausage to be sold. And of course, if you are thinking about or eating food, a drink is always needed. This was my favorite mode of transportation. Though, if there was an accident, it was me first. Instead of an engine, there was also pedal power. This shows the congestion in a downtown street. This was maybe the highway toward Tonsanute Airport. And of course, there is always the horse and wagon. On the outskirts of Saigon, the Air Force planes would drop night flares. This would be so that they could watch any activity on ground. This would be to identify any Viet Cong. Guards were stationed to secure areas. Where there were white barrels, no vehicles of any type could stop in front of the barrels. The next two pictures show a helicopter shooting explosive rockets. I'm assuming intelligence designated the area as where Viet Cong were congregating. The next day I would walk to the area where the rockets were directed. I was concerned about the destruction and how many innocent people, women and children, were killed. I didn't consider my own safety, which probably wasn't very smart. The next four images are of smoke from explosions next to our lab during the TET Offensive. The next grouping of pictures is what I enjoyed taking the most. Taking pictures of the children and people. This is a picture of children laughing. During my walks, I ran across some kids playing foosball. This surprised me because foosball wasn't big back home. My dad had made a table with paddles that used a ping pong ball. I got pretty good at it. I motioned to the children I wanted to play against them. They laughed at me and then were quite surprised how good I was. Not sure who won. They probably did. Children. Men socializing. I remember asking to take a picture of him. I thought he had a lot of character. These were women that worked in our lab. I remember seeing these three women and wanted their picture. I was a little slow and didn't get a front view, but look in the background of the three officers and the expressions on their faces. The older officer on the left had a disgusting look on his face. The youngest officer in the middle had an approving smile. The middle-aged officer on the right did not show much expression. Children playing cards. This woman did not appreciate me taking her picture. Notice she was flipping me off. Boy getting a haircut. I am assuming a homeless man. Not sure what they were doing, but liked the picture. Not much construction planning. Another favorite, children eating. I am not exactly sure of his occupation, but it required a lot of leaning over what he was doing. I had another fuzzy picture, and I think he did carving. Another picture of women helping in the lab. Children in the back of a vehicle. More children. One of my favorite, a rather awkward way to eat. Drawing water from a well. Children through a barbed wire fence. I guess they wanted to keep me out. This caught my attention quickly, then I realized it was a toy gun, I think. A little out of focus, but makes a softer picture of children caring for children. A little game of hacky sack. A woman at the bar in downtown Saigon. Happy children willing to have their picture taken. More children. Mother showing off her child. At times I would have children following me. I had to draw a line in the dirt and motion them to stand behind the line. It was difficult for them to stand behind the line, but I took this picture anyway. When developing, I noticed some of them had closed fists like they were going to fight. I am assuming a young mother and child. Another favorite, a close-up of a child with others around the edges. Young boy getting his bath. More children. And more children. A young boy who was able to obtain some oversized GI clothes. This was another favorite. I am not sure what she was doing with the bricks, but enjoyed something. More children having a meal. Child on the steps. Grandpa showing off his granddaughter. Selling some type of food. Child in a tub, maybe water will be added for a bath. I came across a school and got a couple pictures. Jet engines bringing me home. Seeing the United States for the first time in 13 months.